In this lesson, you'll learn how to use the Component Manager to record customizations and create a component that can be exported into another system. I'm going to log on as the system administrator now, and you can see that I've come into my starting point, my dashboard, and what I want to do is look at something within inside Sage CRM. I'm going to go to the company screen and just consider the idea of quotations. What I want to be able to do is to be able to think about a real customization that I want to be able to carry out inside Sage CRM, and then how that can be taken from a development environment and put into a production environment. And here what you can see is looking at a company screen. And what we'll find is if we go and have a look at opportunities, we can see listing of opportunities that have been created, but we don't see at the level of the company information about the quotations that have been raised for that company. To see that, we'd have to go into each individual opportunity and then click on the quotations tab to have those quotations listed out. So it'd be quite useful for us to be able to have all of the quotations that are associated with those different opportunities listed at the level of the company. So next to the Opportunities tab, we could imagine that there would be a Quotes tab. Now to do this, it's not a particularly difficult act of customization, but we want to be able to make sure that it's recorded so it can be carried through into the external system. Now, everything that I'm saying here is only really an introduction to the topic, and there's a developer lesson that will go into much more detail. But in order to start creating a component, I have to come into the administration screen, move across into the customization screen, and from here go into the component manager. Now you can see that there's no components listed available for me to install, and that's perfectly true. This is a default system. There's nothing available for me to be able to use. But I can here start the process of creating a component. So I'm just clicking on the Component Details tab, and you can see here where we have the default component that would start recording any customizations that might take place. Now it's a good idea to create your own new component for each bit of customization that gets carried out. So I'm going to create a new component here, and I'm going to call this Company Quotes. And I'll provide a description. So I will say this is Company Quotes, and it's for Sage CRM. Now at the moment there is no customizations associated with this new component. So if we were to look at the preview script, we would see that this was an empty area, so there's nothing there. And the idea is that what we're going to do is we're going to go around and we're going to start marking the customizations as belonging to this component, and so when we are ready we can generate script that can be played back into another system so that the same customizations are carried out. I'm going to return here and start the process. So in order to carry out the customization, what I have to do is just remind myself of the particular list that is used to represent quotes. And so I'm navigating into the quotes area, and I'm looking at the quotes here, and we can see that there's a quotes list option. So I'm interested in knowing that I can take this quotes list and add this underneath the company context. So to do that, I now navigate to the customization area for company, and so you can see I've come into administration, customization for the company, and I'm going to go into the tabs area and select the company tab. While I'm looking at the company tab, I can now add in a new tab for the quotes, and I'm going to use an action called run block, which allows me to codelessly reference the list that we saw earlier on. And I'm going to choose add, and we can see that this has added into the menu, and I can move that up into the position next to the opportunities tab. So that's moved into position, and I can save this, and I can navigate now back into the main menu area, and you can see next to the opportunities tab there's a quotations as we're looking under the context of the company. So if I click on here, and we can see that this is neatly listing out all of the quotes that are associated with our company. So this is a customization that has worked, and now we want to be able to generate the code that could be played back into the external system. If I go across into administration and then look at the customization for the component manager, underneath the component details, I can now look at the preview script and see that it has gone through the generation of a lot of information associated with the new tab. And I can now generate the new component. So I'm going to click on my script component option and script this out into a file. So this script has created for me two files, one called companyquotes.ecf and the other called companyquotes.es. And these two files are doing slightly different jobs. This is where I'm going to switch over into a text editor program to start to look at those created files. Now I'm using a text editor, one called TextPad, and there are resources provided on the community to allow for customization of component files using the text editor. So I'm going to just open up in here, resources inside CRM. Now I've come into the INF folder, and we can see where we have created the ECF file, and also we can see where we've created the company quotes folder, and inside this we can see that there's an ES file as well. Notice as well that we have got a couple of folders which indicate that .NET and custom pages like ASP pages can also be brought across, and that's one of the other features about the component manager, is that it's quite happy to move not only the script customizations with inside CRM, but also the external customizations like files, etc. So it's possible to move files and resources to a new machine as well using the component manager. So I can see that I've got my little script file in here. The ECF file allows me to provide parameters, and in a later lesson you'll see how parameters are used in an example of the component manager known as the advanced customization wizard or the main entity wizard, to allow for parameters to be passed. But in this case I can add in new parameters that might only be read-only, but they allow us to include things like logos into the system. They allow us to provide descriptions of what the component is going to be doing. So here I might say that what it can do, and I can say this component will create a new tab on the company that lists quotes, and I can add in perhaps another disclaimer to describe and fill out the information. But it is possible within inside the ECF parameter file to include other parameters, but as I said, I'll cover that in another lesson. So I'm going to save this, and those two files that I've got, the company quotes and the ECF file, what I can now do is to create this as a single distributable zip file, which is available to be used by another install. So I've added my quotations, I've added my parameters, I've added any changes that I might have made to the ES file, the script file, and now what I can do is highlight both of these and send them out into a zip folder, and I'll leave that as company quotes, and then I can close that. And there we are. We've done now is created a component that we can then use, and we can see that that component is found in the INF folder.